Hello. Today in this video, let us discuss about reverse ETL. So we are calling it as a demystified because there are many myths or many discussions uh, that happens with some misunderstanding regarding reverse ETL. So in this video today, let us understand uh, what is exactly the reverse ETL and is it really needed or what are the benefits of using it? What are the disadvantages of using it? So we will detailedly will discuss all these points in this video, and this video is specific for reverse ETL. So before proceeding, if you are new to this channel, I would request you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So as you can see, by end of this video, what you can expect. So you have come to watch this video, and by end of this video you have to take it few points the learn as a learning, right? So definitely by end of this video you should be able to understand, or you should be able to answer questions like what is reverse ETL and what is the difference between ETL and reverse ETL, because the, I mean ETL you might have already heard about, but how exactly the reverse ETL is different from ETL, and what exactly the benefits of using ETL and when to use it, when not to use it, and with some real-time use cases we can see, right? With that, we will move to the actual topics. To start with, what exactly the reverse ETL means. So to keep it simple, we will have some definition about it, but yeah, it is obvious it is a reverse of ETL or ELT. So you might be wondering what is ELT and what is ETL, what is the difference between ETL and ELT. So I have actually tagged a video on top of this. Please go to watch that video. Uh, I will understand what exactly the difference between ETL and ELT. So there is a um, tag here. You can click on that and it will take you to that video, and you can have that understanding if you're not sure what is ETL and ELT, right? And as a definition of coming back to the actual reverse ETL, right? So this video is predominantly discussing about reverse ETL. So I'll not go in detail about ETL or ELT, right? So what is reverse ETL? So reverse ETL enables organization to sync transformed data from their cloud or data warehouse, which is a centralized repository, back to business operational tools. So what that means is, suppose you have a different data sources, right? You have a CRM, you have a backend database, you have a web application, you have a streaming source. So everything will be your data source, and ideally you will be getting that data to your data warehouse format. And you actually what you do is you transform that data, right? So basically that is called as a extract, load, and transform. That is a ELT or ETL, whatever you want to do, whether it is a extract and load and then transform the data, or while extracting only transform the data and then load. That is ETL. This is ELT. So whatever you do, it is ETL or ELT. At the end of the day, you will get the data, the transformed data or the modeled data or the curated data, what we can call, into your data warehouse, and that will be pushed back to the application. It might be same data sources or it might be different data sources. Again, it depends on the requirement, but end of the day, so what we are talking about, these the end or the target systems will be of some business applications which will be business facing, right? So that is why we are calling it as the data will be pushed back from the centralized location to a business operational tools, right? So these will be business operational tools or the databases, right? So with that, we will just have a quick demonstration of a pictorial demonstration of how exactly it looks like. Basically, you will be having a different databases from source system, and the first step, what you do is ETL, right? So without ETL, there is no, without ETL, there will be no reverse ETL, because keep that in mind, because the data has to be come to a centralized location, and then only you can transform it and push it back. So if the data itself is not there in the centralized location, you cannot push that back to the to the application business application databases, right? So the first step is obviously a ETL, where you get the databases data from databases, which might be a CRM, ERP tool, web applications, IoT devices, etc., right? So now the next step, obvious step, is you do a perform a reverse ETL, which is followed by ETL. So in this step, so actually there are sub steps. We can see what exactly the sub steps we are talking about here. So the first step will be extract using query. Again, right? So when you're doing ETL, so it might be involved ETL or ELT, right? There is a slight difference. You can perform anything. Similarly, when you're doing reverse ETL also, you might perform reverse ETL or reverse ELT. Okay, so generally we are calling it as a generic term as a ETL or it, but however in the reality, when you are implementing it, you might actually do a ETL or ELT. So that differs. And now uh, the point number two is segregated into multiple points. When you're doing a reverse ETL, the first step is extract using query. So obviously you need to write a SQL query or write a extraction logic from the centralized repository, which is a data lake or data warehouse. And once that query is written, so you will be able to fetch the data. Once you fetch the data, again you will have to perform the transformations. It might be a column level filters, row level filters. You might be applying some kind of a join conditions, doing some mapping, column mappings, and all those things which are required by the target systems, because these target systems might need the data in different format, right? So that kind of transformations you need to do accordingly, which your target system needs. And then the third step will be actually loading the data into the target systems in the respective tables, and if it is file system, read into respective file systems and folders. And the last step, which the second last step, which the users have to take action here. So this is very important concept to understand. Actually, when you want to understand reverse ETL, reverse ETL is not just pushing the data back to the databases, but making this data actionable. That is where you see the actionable business application. So these are not just the applications which are siloed out from the business. So these are very close to business. And when the data pushed into these applications, the users actually will be notified, or users will be monitoring these databases and tools closely, and then they will take actionable action. They will actually take action. So that is where this arrow you see, they are actually updating the records by taking some actions, or they are taking that data and using it for some other purpose that actually brings a business value. So here the reverse ETL, if you understand, when we make an actionable business, it is actually bringing a value to a business, because the data is made a actionable data. For example, if the example, there will be a sales data actually coming in, which actually uh, predicts that, I mean, or else it shows that the sales is down for a particular for a particular week, right? So at that time, what exactly the users can take action? They can trigger a social media campaign actually from here. So once they trigger social media campaign, it actually goes to the it might be Facebook, Twitter, or whatever the social media platform they want to advertise. So they can take actionable insight. The users can take actionable insight on the data that they are getting here. So basically the users are enabled to do this actions here, so which is bringing us some sort of value, right? So hope this slide was clear. So next, quickly jump on benefits of reverse ETL. So if we see what exactly the benefits. So benefits, definitely there are a couple of benefits, as you can see here. Make a data actionable. So which we have actually discussed in the previous slide, but here we will discuss in a little more detail. So what exactly we are talking about here when we are talking about make a data actionable, right? Because when you talk about a data warehouse, right, where you bring the data from the different sources and keep it in a centralized repository, as you have seen in the previous slide, and once the data warehouse it becomes a centralized repository, what happens is it will be having a vast volume of data, and which is stored in a long period of time, and definitely data engineers and data scientists will be able to use it, analyze it, and for their different use cases and convert it to a different meaningful information, no doubt about it. However, right, so the data is actually not made available to the non-technical users. Say, for example, marketing, sales, customer support, etc., etc., right? And reverse ETL tools have a ability to make the copy of the data in the data warehouse and transform it to make it specifically for the specification of external API and deliver it to a different, actually, as we saw, it can deliver to different target systems, right? Basically, what we're talking here with this point is the the business will become more agile because we are taking an actionable insight. So the business will become more agile, right? So because it's a action driven, right? And avoid data silos. So what is data silos? Data silos is nothing but data is sitting uh, uh, in a in a corner, and every department is not able to understand every other department data because they don't have access. Suppose you are a sales person and you don't have uh, visibility to what's happening to the products, right? Or for that matter, what happening to the logistics. But if you're not available, I mean, if you are not having access to the logistics, and if you don't have availability of products, so as a salesperson, you might miss some of the details, or you might actually having a issue of data silo because you don't have access and the data is sitting there, and if you in reality you are not using it, and the data is siloed only for the particular departments, right? And that is not that might not bring a much benefit of it. So that is why when you implement reverse ETL, it avoids the data silo because it makes the data visible to the different departments, and create customized data marts, especially like a data mart is one more kind of architecture, enterprise architecture, where you push the data into basically if you have a data warehouse, and data marts are a chunk of data, like it is a subset of data warehouse, what we can call, right? Data marts are a subset of data marts are a subset of data warehouse. If there is one data warehouse, and this data is having a sales data, I can push it to sales data mart. And if it is having a marketing, I can push this specific data to the marketing data mart. So these are data marts actually. This is sales data mart, it is marketing data mart, and we can have HR data mart, right? So these are the subset of what? The data warehouse. So exactly we are using the reverse ETL concept here also. So that's why we can create a customized data marts here, right? And actually it enables the data. So that means even though like without actually reverse ETL, even the data warehouse can be made available to non-technical users. So like what we are talking about reverse ETL concept, which we can make it actionable, right? So we can still make it actionable without pushing it to the like a different source system. Actually, we can create a architecture such a way that in the data warehouse itself, without pushing the data into the different systems in the data warehouse itself, the users can be given a control. They can directly come and update the data in the data warehouse by creating a sophisticated user interface for them. So this is possible, right? But the problem here is it will create a lot of data engineering challenges because there might be data quality issues, data sync issues, right? And like and the performance issues especially, right? Because there will be different departments which are connected in that case, and there might be a lot of lag in the performance and other things, right? And this could what happens is this could quickly amount to a unsustainable amount of engineering overhead and significantly add the time it takes for the business to teams to access the data they need when they actually need it, right? So that is where by implementing reverse ETL, so it will bring down the overhead of data engineering. right? So the next is the higher value work. So here what we are doing is we are actually giving uh, the value, I mean the work which is very important for the end user. Suppose there is a sales person, there is a marketing person, there is a HR person, right? So we are actually giving them the transformed data, right? Which they can actually use it. So if they are not using transformed data, they might be end up using putting their effort in the data which might not be of importance. But here in the reverse ETL, since we are giving the transformed data, there is very less possibility they are analyzing or putting the effort on the unwanted data, right? So it will be almost close to what they need. So because it is a transformed data, so that increases their efficiency or the value of work the non-technical users like sales, marketing, HR, and different departments that will be involved to do these activities. And basically here what we are giving is data democratization, right? We are actually making the people more data democratic so that uh, they are actually having the access to the whatever data they need, right? This is data democratization. And even if you call we are giving the access to different users and make to make it actionable, right? So even this can be called as a data democratization. And the last one is modern data architectures like data mesh and data fabric. So this is the modern buzzword in the data architecture world. So you can actually read through these concepts, and also we will bring up a couple of videos on top of data mesh and data fabric. But just keep in mind that so when we are doing when we want to implement a data mesh or a data fabric and the permutation and combination of it, so basically we are actually doing a reverse ETL we are using the concept of reverse ETL in this data mesh and data fabric concepts, right? So hope this slide is clear, right? We will move to the next slide where we will discuss about the key considerations. So key considerations are nothing but so before you start to implement as an architect or as a data engineer or a data person, before you implement it, or a data manager for that matter, right? What are the key consideration you need to think of? So because reverse ETL is definitely not for all. So that is where the first point is. So it is not mandatory that you use a reverse ETL, because actually speaking, a good enterprise architecture should never have a goal to plan a reverse ETL. Because when you start a project and when you start a data project, so if you are having a good enterprise architecture, ideally you should not have a reverse ETL in your plan, because reverse ETL is having its own cons, right? It is definitely is having pros, but it is having separate cons also, which the big enterprises are not. So basically, like if you are an architect, right, and you're starting a project, so definitely you should not have a plan that you must need a reverse ETL. I mean, ETL is actually the natural process that you'll be doing, but reverse ETL is actually only on the need basis. It depends on what kind of project that you're dealing, right? And if you are actually having a very good matured enterprise architecture, so there will be no need of reverse ETL. So why do we say that actually, right? And the reason why do we say that is think about it like if you are having a very good kind of a data warehouse which is built, and you actually kind of can create and then you will be exposing that to a like a business intelligence tool, which is a reporting tool, right? Say for example, you have a data warehouse here, right? And after that data warehouse, you are pushing it to the, or you are making the data visible to the different business intelligence tools or reporting tools, right? And you can have a reverse BI or actionable BI for that matter, right? Suppose your BI tool is itself is enabled such a way that it allows user to take actions on the data directly on the data warehouse. So in this case, and also you need to take care a little bit about the data engineering overheads here on the data how exactly the data performance, if you are creating the data performance of this data warehouse, and if you are making the BI, use a sophisticated BI tool which takes the actionable insights on this data warehouse, so then definitely on this data warehouse, then definitely, so this will actually makes the things more simpler, and so there will be no need of reverse ETL, right? And we will see what are the different cons also in the same slide. We will discuss about it. But to start any project, just don't keep in the mind that you need a reverse ETL. So it is not mandatory. It's not for all. And if you are having a good matured enterprise architecture, you should not use reverse ETL, right? And that should be a last option. Using that, it should be a last option. So keep that in mind. And so the next option is data integrity. So data integrity will be challenged here when you are using a reverse ETL, because just think through, right? We are pushing the data into uh, different target systems, and we are giving more power to the end users here to take actionable insights. What will happen is definitely the data quality issue. More than the data quality, the other challenges are data lineage. So how exactly, where exactly the data is changed, or who has changed it, auditing it and cataloging it. And also the data governance will be actually might be compromised here. So all these concepts make the data more vulnerable. So, and the data integration integrity will be challenged. So that's the thing here. And build versus buy. So there are different tools that are available in the market to actually for to perform reverse ETL. So you can build your own tool also, or you can buy the tool which is readily available in the market. The difference is you need to take care of the cost here, because if you want to build it, the end party or the end target systems might actually change over time. The business rules might change, and their systems might change over time, and it might be a tedious process to maintain them, or to change the code, maintain the connections and all those things, right? Maintenance will be a problem. So it's again a cost you need to think over. And so if you're having a streaming systems, then you need to think through, because whatever the market, whatever the reverse ETL tools you consider to today in the market are not so matured enough to perform the streaming data push to the target systems, right? So yeah, I mean, as a market matures, as a tool matures, so we might get a tools where we perform this. They'll be able to perform this. But at this moment, if you're having any data which is coming from IoT systems, streaming data like Kafka, so don't consider it for a reverse ETL concepts, right? Avoid considering it, because the tools which are available might not give you the best performance, or you might end up having a lot of issues. And the last one is I mean, cost for growing volume. This is nothing but a scalability concept. I mean, what we are discussing about the scalability. So definitely what happens is the scalability, that means the volume is actually growing. So you are actually so here you might be writing data from a data warehouse to different databases, separate databases or different database application, but actually you are ending up doing a data duplication here. The same data which is there in the data warehouse, you are actually sending it to the all the different systems, right? And you are actually in reality you are doing a data duplication. And so when this is happening, so imagine that you are doing this for 4 years, 5 years, actually duplicating this data into multiple systems. Actually, you are ending up paying more cost because you are maintaining all these databases with a duplicated volume of data, actually, and it is actually increasing the cost to store that volume of data. So hope this key consideration is also important, and hope you are able to understand what are the different cons, or what are the different other side of the spectrum you need to think about and take decisions. And as I was mentioning, so this reverse ETL is not for everyone, and especially if the enterprises are matured, so obviously they go for a they will not choose to go for a reverse ETL. But if you want to make a business more agile, and if you want to make a give more controls to the business, and if you're still maturing as an organization, so then it might make sense to choose reverse ETL. But again, it is a call that you want to make, and it is there is no one fit solution for all. So with that, we will just quickly go to the last slide. So just to see what are the different reverse ETL tools are available. So there are different tools. You can The purpose to show them here is you can just go through Google and just read about these tools to just understand what exactly they are actually doing. So with this, we have come at the end of the video, and hope the concept of reverse ETL is clear, and hope it was useful.